Welcome to Home and Away, a Tottenham Hotspur podcast hosted by myself, Graham Spice, and Glenn Cowie, where we discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur with both a match attending and international supporters view. Glenn, are you good?
I'm good, mate. I'm very good. Welcome back. It's been well, I'm trying to think, when did we do our last recording? Would have been towards the end of May, I expect. And the year
It
has...
was. I think the last one we did was the one after Ange was sacked.
Yeah.
So
The year has flown by. I can't quite believe
indeed.
it. Mid-July or late July now. We've already played a pre-season friendly, which we were just discussing that you didn't attend.
No, it's so annoying. It's so close to me as well. Would have loved to have gone. Circumstances meant that I had other things planned for me. And my mother-in-law's car was in for a service, and I wasn't sure what time it would be ready. But as it was ready in plenty of time. But by that stage, all the tickets had sold out. I heard there was lots of trouble getting to the ground from all the park and rides anyway, because I don't think they're used to coping with that many supporters turning up for a match at the stadium, to be honest. I don't even know what it's called anymore. It's not the Medeski anymore, is it?
I think it's something...
That's about 3 owners ago at this rate.
Yeah,
the
John
current ones... They've had a couple of real wrong uns in charge there.
Well, you saying that it's close to home, obviously it's close to home for me as well, because as our listeners know, we're from the same area. I was actually born in Reading, so I would have certainly gone if I'd been there, and I did have a few mates that did. But yeah, I've only seen the extended highlights. I have not seen the whole game. But your initial comment, and I'd agree with you, I really like that black kit. Quite a nice kit.
Really nice. Even better that I remember saying it at the time for during the Europa League final. I really liked the tracksuits they were wearing, and they were not available to buy anywhere. They've just released them on the club shop.
Okay. Yeah, nice.
So I'm definitely in for that. It's 120 quid for the jacket, but I'm going to have to find the money for that. It's really lovely.
Nice looking jacket.
Yeah, but I really like the black kit. I think I'm going to get that one this season. I'm not usually one for a lot of kits, but that one's definitely going in the collection.
It's a nice kit, and well, the players that were wearing the kit, I've seen the extended highlights, and look, I can only take what I can take from highlights. But the one thing that stood out to me, we've got a bit of a player in Vuskovic. My God,
he was something, that's for sure.
Well, I was debating whether or not he'd actually be loaned, but I don't think he is. I think he's firmly in the plan. Like, he has to be, right?
Well, yeah,
that's a centre back doing that as well.
Yeah. So we've still got Dragusin still injured and will be for some time. We've got the new Japanese kid who's 20.
Yeah.
So he's another one. He should be on the fringes of the first team. Dorrington's gone back out on loan to Aberdeen already. I think you mentioned that it happened on Sunday, didn't it?
Yeah.
You mentioned it to me. We've still got Phillips still around. He may go out on loan again, but I'm thinking that actually we've got. I thought last year we weren't too bad for centre backs, and then they literally all got injured at the same time. But I'd say numbers wise, we seem to be okay there. But there's still a lot of talk. We've been linked with a bunch of quite expensive centre backs still. So I wonder if someone might come in with a late offer for Romero still.
Well, Atletico, they seem to have called their interest.
They can't afford him.
Yeah, I don't think they can. And also with the number of centre backs, I think we talked about this a little bit previously when Frank was being muted as the new manager. He pivots to 3 at the back. So you'll see in the season, there'll be even in games, like he'd do it. He could start with a 2, and then he may even utilise one of the fullbacks to slot in as a 3, or change it up with actual personnel change with substitutions.
I saw some more tactical analysis as well, and he has a tendency to when the fullback is pushing on and number one, we'll come to that in a minute, but there's a tendency that only one will go, not both, and that the 3 will shift along and form a 3.
Yeah.
So that we never overcommit like we did with Ange. There's always plenty of depth in defence for those where we lose the ball and there's a quick counter. So that was interesting. And that for me was the really interesting opportunity to see him set a team up for the first time, and the differences that it was between last season and this season already.
Well, I saw something doing the rounds on social media where it was half time and he was in deep conversation with Matty Wells and I think Cochrane and maybe another coach, and he had either his iPad or something out. This is Frank. And just for like a solid 3 minutes, you could see like very detailed. It couldn't be more different to Postecoglou, could it?
No, really.
I mean, it's quite funny.
I think if I the starting lineup, I'm not sure which way around it was, but whatever was originally said to be the starting 11, keeper was switched. It was different keeper. I think Vicario started. I can't remember which way around it was now.
No, I think Kinski, from what I can make out, Kinski started because I think from
Yes,
the highlights,
yes.
I'm pretty sure Kinski started. Yeah.
So he had a good half. I thought he looked
Do you think that's
decent.
it? Do you think that's it for us? Do you think they're the two, Vicario,
Yeah.
Kinski? That's it, and
Well,
then there
with
may be
Keely's
a
gone already.
yeah, yeah.
I can't. I can see Forster's. Is he already contract out already, or
I think
he
he's
must be?
gone. Yeah.
And
Do we
then you've
need
got
to name? Is it
Austin's
three
the
keepers in
third.
the Champions League?
I think Austin will be the third because he's still the homegrown home.
Yeah.
Uh, he's the
Yeah.
hometown hero. He's the man who will be. At least he's played some games for us now. He's
Yeah.
got some
No.
experience. Yeah, I think he'll
Absolutely.
be I think he'll be the third for the squad for the to make up the numbers.
So you
Then solid back four again. Porro, Danso, Romero, and Udogi. It's a good starting lineup
I
in
don't think we
defence.
can mention Porro without mentioning Porro's new hair.
Yeah, I saw
What's
a.
he done?
I don't know if you saw. Someone sent me this clip of this bald guy on a beach. And basically, he basically he got like had sun cream on his hair, stuck his head in the sand, and he come up and he looked just like Pedro Porro.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I saw that
Uh,
on one of the training videos of preseason. I was like, bloody hell, what's he done to his Barnet?
he's a character, isn't he?
Oh, he's funny. I hope he's. It tells me also, and we kind of touched on this, right? Our position in the league, there needs to be tremendous context put to that. Last season, the manager that we had came out and basically said it like, yeah, we just focus on Europa League, and yes, it paid off. And also, we did have a tremendous amount of injuries. I've always maintained I don't think we need a great deal, like in terms of additions. And we'll get to it in a minute, like on who we've signed and who we think's coming. But we probably only needed 3, maybe 4 in terms of in the door to kick us on. And we're starting to see that, right? In terms of our approach with a centre back, Kudus, and then we've
I
got
think the
Gibbs White, which we'll talk about.
I think the problem is we shipped a lot out on loan last season, right? So they're all back. So actually, we have
Yeah.
a very big squad with everyone currently around. We're going to have
Yeah.
to make some decisions. There'll be players who will probably be sold on fairly quickly. Brian Hill will be one of them.
He's still there, isn't he?
I know. Manus Solomon. I mean, Brian Gill was going to be, again, one of the worst deals ever, right? We gave Lamella and cash and then gave him back to them and then sent him somewhere else for a year. And we're going to sell him for peanuts, which is a shame because there's definitely a player in there. He's just not a Premier League player.
I feel a bit sorry for Solomon, if I'm honest, because he'd actually never really got a proper run at it at Spurs. And then he went to Leeds and done very well. But you assume he's going to probably sign there permanently, you would think. I mean,
I'm not sure if they haven't already moved on to other targets, which might be maybe someone will pick him up. I think we might have to again. Look, the good news is we got him for free, right? So we're not losing money on him. Even we can't balls that one up.
was he in the squad for the game against Reading?
No,
Like, did he?
I didn't
No.
see him. I think he's injured. I think I saw that he picked up an injury. Him and the
Yeah.
new Japanese kid. I forgot his name as well now, but he's also he picked up an injury.
Yeah. Okay.
So the starting, I think I said the defense was Porro, Danso, Romero, and Udogi. Danso again, I think he looks very comfortable in this formation. He's such a solid lad. I really like him. And then Bentancur and Divine. Divine played in the more advanced role.
Which
I thought he looked quite bright.
he's been kicking around the squad since we played Marine in the FA Cup, which was under
He scored that
Jose
goal,
Mourinho.
and he's still only 20, I think.
Yeah.
He feels like he should be a lot older than that, but I think he had quite a good loan out at Westerlo last season.
And
with
also, not that
Vuskovic
he got
as
any
well.
minutes, but George Abbott was on the bench, who of course was at Notts
Played.
County.
Second half as well.
Yeah, okay,
I think he came on and played some. He had a great loan at Notts County.
We had the benefit
about
of
him.
the benefit of our man on the ground in Nottingham,
Yes.
your son Thomas.
Yeah, he saw him a few times, and he said that pretty much every time he played, he was the best player on the pitch. So it's good to hear. Good feedback from a loan club.
No, absolutely. And then just to touch on, we talked about it a bit, but Vuskovic, what was it? An assist, a goal, a clean sheet in his debut,
And clearance off the line.
and the clearance off the line. It's that you attribute to a defender, but not the assist and the goal. But he was scored a lot of goals on loan.
I think he scored 8 goals last season for Westerlo as a central defender.
He clearly
quite a
puts
lot.
himself about, and
He's
he looks
just
an
enormous.
absolute unit. Yeah.
He went over to celebrate with what's his name, Kudus, after the goal, because Kudus had laid it on for him, and he hugged him, and he looked like he was hugging a child. It was so funny because I didn't realize. I thought Kudus was a bit of a unit, but he's only 5'9". He's only the same
Yeah,
height
he's
as
not
me.
huge.
But
I'm
like,
just looking. Why wasn't Tell in? He's played Euro
he
21, didn't
came
he?
back late.
That's why. Okay.
Him and
Yeah.
Alderbert as well.
Yeah. Those two. So
Did they go
there's
to the
another
final?
two.
Didn't they go to the final?
Potentially,
Can't remember if they
I
went to semi-final or final.
think semi-finals. But
Same with Gray as well.
okay. Archie Gray was in England. Yeah. So so there's more that we still need to got back. So we've got like that just goes to
We
further
got numbers,
solidify
as
that.
I said.
Yeah.
We could have played three halves and had
Yeah.
three separate teams quite comfortably, I
Yeah.
think. But
We
yeah,
have
so
numbers.
Johnson, Solanke, and more a couple of nice little dribbly runs. Would have liked to see a bit more out of him, but it's all still there. I think
Yeah.
he needs game time somewhere, and whether that'll be with us or on loan, I'm not sure this season. There's been a lot of rumours that Dortmund are after him, but I don't think
Yeah. Okay.
we'd want to sell. I
Yeah.
think
I
we'd
don't.
want
Yeah.
it'd be a great place for him to go for a loan for a season, wouldn't it?
Yeah. They seem to develop, don't they? They seem
Yeah,
to.
exactly, and he'll get game time there.
Yeah.
They love an
Yeah.
English wide player.
No, it's a great shout. It's a great shout. What do you read into Sonny? There's a bit of stuff that I've seen circulating where he looked
Second
a bit.
half,
Yeah, he looked a bit
he looked way off the pace, like
tired.
way off the pace.
Some were suggesting he just looks completely disinterested.
I'm not sure about that. I just felt like the game passed him by pretty much. Did great. It was
Well,
difficult to watch almost.
you're going from the highest of highs to then a pre-season in Reading. You know, it's not going to get your blood flowing.
And it's early, right? But
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if he left after the pre-season
I
match
reckon. I
in
do wonder
Korea.
that too.
I think there's a commitment for him to stay until after the Korea match.
Is it essentially 2 years left on his contract, or is he
One.
going into? Yeah,
This
one.
is the
Okay.
this is the year extension that he's about to start. So
Yeah. Okay.
we could keep him for another year, but I think if he's had a conversation with Thomas Frank and Thomas Frank has said, "I'm going to pick a new captain," and I guess it will be Romero if he's staying, or maybe not. Maybe he brings in someone else and they become the captain. But you won't be a first choice for me. You're going to be a squad rotation player. Then maybe you'll take that. Thanks very much. I've had a great time. I'll go and play in Saudi for a year and earn a bazillion pounds.
Or the MLS maybe. You never know.
Yeah, but
Well, he could. You
he's
know
got
where he could end up with Lloris at LAFC.
yeah.
So
I mean, he'd probably look really good over there, even in his current state. Or maybe he just
Yeah.
needs a change. I mean, let's be honest. Is it 11 years now? He's been a good servant for the club,
I'm just glad we've given him a trophy.
and he's a European trophy lifting captain. So, as far as I'm concerned, he could never do any wrong in my eyes. But
No, I agree.
he didn't look it.
Yeah.
So, some other
Yeah.
things from the first half, just quickly before we get to the second half team. We got the ball forward a lot quicker. There wasn't so much playing it around at the back. There was one or two passes, and then there was a decisive through ball. And we kind of bypassed a lot of the midfield with those forward balls, which I thought was quite interesting. So we're getting the ball into forward areas quicker.
And that's very much Thomas Frank.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Just the things that you could see immediately. The fullbacks, when they did overlap, were very wide. They provided width. They were not like inverted. They were not coming inside as number 10s.
They're not doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember that in the first pre-season under Ange, I went actually because it was in Perth in Australia. And it was weird because we were like watching the fullbacks just appear in the centre midfield. And we're like, what's going on here? But yeah, more of that.
The difference is that Udogie was getting around the outside a lot. There's a few balls into him around the outside, and he was getting good crosses in. So that was good. What else? Set pieces. We looked like we'd been coached doing set pieces for a change.
Well, on that, and I'd be interested, I didn't pick up too much on the extended highlights because they didn't focus on it maybe, but our pivot to long throws, and there was an article I read on The Athletic. It was a short one, but it was I think it was Sarr and Basuma and somebody else were like horsing around in the dressing room, and they were doing like dancing behind them.
And someone asked him about
in
the press conference who had the longest throw. It was Danso. Unfortunately, he might not be starting games. You can't bring him on just to take a throw in.
But I did the article's quite good because it goes into more detail that it's not just a lump in the box. They're actually quite considered, like with how we utilise this.
Yeah,
And also, there was an example they gave of Brentford away to Fulham last season where they shaped to do the long throw and it was all a big decoy and they went short and they scored from it. Like, because they overloaded the other side before they knew it,
yeah.
they were overloaded on the left and they scored. So it's quite funny though seeing that like long throw auditions.
I did a bit of research on this. I can't remember where I put it now. I looked at last season for Brentford and
Yeah,
10%, 10%. No, I think 2 to 3% of their throw-ins ended up in a goal or like
yeah,
a chance, which is
yeah.
comparable to a corner. So that's quite it's a tool, right? It's just why would you, if you can add 2 or 3% more goals a season
100%.
just by utilizing a throw-in skill, I'm completely okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So so yeah, so generally set pieces, even in the pre-match warm-up, they were practicing set pieces like corners, free
Yeah.
kicks
It's
with
what you
the
want to see.
how the players would line up in a defensive and offensive position. So just the coaching looks like night and day. I got to
Yeah,
be
which
honest that the new guy I can't remember his name now. The guy he used to coach the under-18s out or
Cochrane.
youth,
Cochrane.
Cochrane.
Yeah.
He looks like he's marshalling everything. He looks
Yeah.
like the brains behind that outfit. He really looks.
Well, he's
Every time
very
I've seen
involved.
anything, yeah,
And
yeah,
footage I've seen online of him at training sessions, he seems to be very, very across
vocal,
things.
yeah.
But the
So I
second
mean,
half team,
just a couple of other things.
yeah.
Sorry. Still
No,
quite a
no,
high
go.
line. Still quite a high line. So we weren't super deep, but it was more of a mid
Yeah.
block. So like I felt like we were, and also there was enough players that it wasn't. I
Well,
never
the
felt
thing is, with a high line though, Danso's no slouch either. Like we talk about
no,
Van der Ven's pace, but Danso's pretty quick.
yeah, but you don't want them facing their own goal if you can
Correct.
avoid it. But so
Correct.
so I feel like I'd much rather have his massive meathead heading it away than I would
Yeah.
him running towards his
Akin
own goal.
akin to the Europa League final, where I don't think he gets enough credit. When he came on, he was absolutely
Yeah,
colossal.
yeah,
Being,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah,
he just shored
um,
it all up for us. What
absolutely did.
else? Kinski's distribution, his kicking was excellent, really good.
Well, that's never been a concern for me of him. It's been his
No,
other.
but I
I've
think
always said if you
under
could merge
Frank
the
though,
two keepers, you'd have the perfect
yeah.
goalie.
But the thing is though, of the two of them, I think Kinski suits Frank's style of play more
Yeah, okay.
because there was a couple of times where he's made basically he's hit Solanke or the number 10 or one of the wide forwards that's come inside. He's hit them accurately, and we're already in the final third of the pitch. So he's literally bypassed the press completely. So I think that again, that's another way of getting us out of if we've got teams that are going to do a high press against us. It's another way out rather than trying to play it out from the back and getting ourselves into a shit show, which we've done on more than one occasion.
No, absolutely.
And
And
also
the
there
other
was a
thing about it is
yeah
the what we've moved away from as well is just as we've covered, like it's the same repetition of play. Like with Frank, we're going to have different ways to play. It's almost like the horses for courses analogy, right?
oh absolutely yeah
We're not just going to be it's who we are, mate.
no we will tonight Matthew. I'm going to be
Yeah, yeah. But still, for me, the jury has to be out to a degree because we don't know what we're going to get. We know what we're going to
no
get with Frank in terms of approach and how he coaches, but
the
you
players have to
take
absorb it right.
correct. And you take a manager of I think what was he at Brentford 7 years in a
Yeah.
very well-oiled machine, clearly a well-set-up club. I hope it works. We all want it to work. So
Yeah.
let's just see. We had some people over on Saturday, and some were Spurs fans, and it was funny how I said to him off his first press conference before pre-season. I said, "How do we already break managers in that?" He goes, "I've never been sacked."
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh,
But
you
he
probably
said
will
it.
be."
I thought it was quite dry. He said, "I've never been sacked. I like to try new things." It's like
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. It's
thought
quite funny.
I
Yeah,
saw some really negative press around his press conference, and I thought it was absolutely fine.
I
I
thought it
had
was
no
fine too.
issue with it. But like they were like, "Oh, he was nervous," and he was just. I'm like, I didn't see. I did. I just think that they're literally trying to write a story, and there was nothing in it at all.
Yeah, there's
But it
nothing
was
there.
fine.
Yeah,
Absolutely fine.
yeah.
Thought he
Nah.
answered everything he was asked really well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like him. I do like him. I like how he carries himself. But yeah, the the second half team, so we have Vicario, Davis, Van der Ven, Vuskovic, of course, Spence, Basuma, Bergvale, Donnelly, Kudus, Lancashire, and
As
Son.
opposed to Donkey that I wrote down.
Donkey, where it's auto corrected it to Donkey. Yeah, we haven't signed Tony Adams, but interestingly, out of that second half team, that's where the goals came from, right? Lancashire and Vuskovic.
I would have said that this on paper the second half team was weaker, but I
Yeah,
actually thought that it was better than the
and
first half.
from everything I've seen, Kudus really seems to make an impact. Like
He
yeah,
was a handful. He's going to be interesting. He's good dribbling. He got into dangerous positions. He's also really good at. He's not one of those who just dribbles until he runs into a roadblock. Just keep his head down, and he's
yeah,
looking up, looking for the pass. Like the pass to Vuskovic for the goal
yeah,
was him
yeah,
dribbling into the edge of the box, pulling it back to Vuskovic to score the goal. Was
yeah.
really good, and that we've been missing some of that. So I like that. That was really good to see. As I
Out
said, we already talked about Son was way
off
off
the
the pace a bit.
pace.
Still, I thought that Bergvall didn't look on it either yet, but then he's coming back from injury, and it's the first game back in pre-season, so I'm not too concerned
Out of
about
that,
that yet.
out of that second half team, for me, the flight risks in terms not really risk was the ones that might be on the way out the door. Bissouma and Son, and then you would think Lancashire alone again. And then I don't know whether because Davis did he take the option? I think he's worth keeping around in terms of his experience.
Yeah,
He can play left. He can play left centre.
Donnelly's he was really good. I liked it. I liked what
Yeah,
I saw again. I think he could be a really, depending on what happens with Morgan's Gibbs White or another. I think that he could deputise in that role for yeah, if we needed him. I'm not sure whether he'd be trusted yet, but if he has a good pre-season, maybe that's an option if we don't bring someone in. I would rather we had obviously brought in an experienced player and he maybe gets another season on a loan at a
yeah,
higher level because was he League One with Orient
he was.
last season, so
Um,
maybe a
he's
championship
always
loan.
yeah, he's always been kicking around the fringes. Maybe a championship loan again, or a loan to one of the promoted clubs. You know,
Yeah,
maybe a,
I
maybe
mean
a
he's definitely a player,
yeah,
definitely.
maybe a Burnley or maybe a Fulham or you know what I mean, somewhere where he could slot in and get some more
Yeah.
experience.
Well, like he maybe even a move back to West Brom,
Yeah.
given that.
Well, we could see a bit of that, couldn't we, with Ryan
Yeah,
Mason?
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe because they had, but
Um,
both of the strikers they had second half of the season were loanies. One was
yeah.
Alan Armstrong, and then him. So I thought that's why I thought it was a really weird decision for us to send him there, because like we sent him there, and then 2 days later they loaned Alan Armstrong, who's an experienced Premier League
Yeah.
striker. It didn't
Yeah.
make a lot of sense to me. Like, why did you take him if you were going to do that anyway? But anyway,
Yeah. So
yeah, and as it turned out, he didn't get a lot of game time because of that as well.
yeah, and it just again goes back to my original point of there's numbers there, so there's going to be movement.
Yeah.
But the other thing that is a bit weird, and I've got a strange story to share kind of on this topic, but there was like crowd trouble, like in the Reading Spurs. You don't tend to,
Yeah, exactly. Our arch enemies.
yeah, bloody
Like,
bizarre.
it was very odd.
But it reminds
Yeah,
me,
I got it from. It was a tweet from Alistair Gold, who was at the game. Obviously, he said that. I'm assuming there was a shit ton of Spurs fans in the home end. It was
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
I would say that it was 50-50 in the stadium, and I guess that upset a few of the locals. Yeah, I'm not so. I was all
Well,
handbags, I'm sure.
a fight and crowd trouble at a friendly reminds me of when Lindsay and I were at an Elton John concert a couple of years ago, and I turned around, and there was a fight. Bloke kicking off, and I was like, "What is
It's
going on here?"
amazing,
Yeah, I was like,
unbelievable.
"You're at an Elton John concert, not the place for a fight, mate."
So the only other place I've seen trouble in the stadium, it's going back to my first ever game that I went to at Highbury. So it was a North London derby, and I was in the home. I
Yeah,
can't remember which stand it is. I was in the one of the home stands with my brother-in-law, who was a gooner, and my ex-wife, and she said to me, "Whatever you do, if we score, don't celebrate." Right. So I was fine, but
sitting
then
on your thumbs.
in front of us there was five guys who all got up, took their jackets off, and they all had Spurs shirts underneath. And the hatred that came flying over the top of
Yeah,
us, it was like
yeah.
it was a lot. They were fighting each other. The Gooners were fighting each other to try and get at them. It was carnage.
Same.
I just sat there like, I'm just gonna wait for it all to die down. But yeah,
Yeah, I had a one experience many years ago, and I was probably about 10 with my dad, and we were at White Hart Lane, and there was like it was Man United at home. I think it was a League Cup game. Maybe it was I'm sure it was a cup game. But anyway, we ended up in that area where it like crossed over into the away. So there wasn't great segregation. And I just
Yeah.
remember being lifted out above all of the crowd and them helping me down and then getting to the steward and then my dad meeting me. And the steward took care of us. I would take you to another area, like, because it was like Man United fans, because they're quite bad United fans in terms of
Again,
trouble. Yeah.
one of the only other times I've seen trouble was after FA Cup semi-final outside of Wembley.
Yeah.
On the ramps down towards Wembley Way was
Yeah.
kicking off there as Man
Yeah.
U fans again.
Yeah. Man United fans can be.
Actually, I think Thomas was there with me. I think Thomas or John. I can't remember who was there with me. We got off the train, off the tube at Wembley Park, whatever it is, Wembley Park Central, is it? I can't remember what the name of the stadium, the station is. The doors open and there's a man on the platform with like claret coming out of his face.
No.
And I'm like, this is a good start, isn't it? We just got off the tube. So like, I'm there with the kids, and like, mind you, they're not kids anymore, are they? My son's probably end up more fights on a football pitch than I ever did. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Oh,
no,
that's funny.
yeah. So
Well,
again, Man United.
yeah, Man United are trouble. Well, let's hope there's no trouble. But looking ahead, we've got Luton away in our next
Yeah.
pre-season.
So we get an opportunity to play against Josh Keeley, who we just sold them
Okay, yes.
for £1 million
Yeah.
with some kind of sell-on fee, I'm sure.
Well, it'd be interesting to see, like, and I will. There's some context in why I didn't watch the game because my Spurs play thing wasn't actually working properly on Sunday, and I just really.
It was broken at the beginning, like that they literally just started live
Yeah.
stream just as the kickoff went. It was again one of those amazing feats of technical prowess that Spurs seem to be able to pull out every time that there's a live game.
So I try and watch the whole thing on Luton away, but then it gets more interesting because, of course, we'll be recording
Time
another
zone
episode
wise for you, for sure.
Yeah, we actually we drop into talking about trouble at pre-season games. We're playing bloody Arsenal, which is bizarre. But we've got Arsenal on the 31st of July.
Is that Hong Kong?
Hong Kong. So
And
we've
then
got
it's Korea.
Arsenal. I think yes, so it's
Newcastle in
Hong Kong,
Korea.
Arsenal. That's a 9:30 p.m. game for me, and then we've got Newcastle. It must be in Korea. That's 9 p.m. for me.
And then we're off to Germany to play Bayern Munich.
Well, and then we'll be covering this in more detail, but then of course we've got the Super Cup coming up. But pivoting away from the football on the pitch, there's been a bit going on off the pitch. Obviously, we've signed Kudos, which we talked about, and we've signed the Japanese centre-back. But the Morgan Gibbs-White saga, I mean, he was slated to have a medical. What's the point in a release clause if you're going to make it confidential?
Yeah, I mean, and do you know what? I would not be surprised if 60 million was a low ball offer that Daniel Levy thought he'd try, because he never bids. Even if we knew what it was, you'd be daft to just offer it, wouldn't you? You'd say, all right, 55 million, and he'd go, no. And then you go, all right, 60. And then you go, how did you know it was 60? I didn't.
Yeah,
I just think we guessed it. I think we just went offer 60 million because it's a good opening offer. And actually that was the clause. So, but I think he's trying to save face more than anything, Marinakis.
Yeah. Well, I think the transfer will get done. The player clearly wants it. He was slated for a medical. He's quite close with Brennan Johnson, from what I understand. A tremendously good signing if we can get it over the line. And it came out of nowhere, really, didn't it? And what does that mean for Maddison's future if we did sign him? Do you think both of them can coexist in a Tottenham squad in enough minutes?
We were missing Maddison a lot of last season, even when he wasn't injured. But again, as we said last season, on his day, Maddison is unplayable, but he just doesn't have enough of those days in the season. So maybe it's good to have competition in that place.
Yeah, competition, yeah.
Because it might get more out of Maddison, but also in his own right, Morgan Gibbs-White is a good player.
You've added something here which I didn't know, but he's not travelled to Portugal.
Yes. So, but it's complicated, right? Because his wife is pregnant. And I think she's had a difficult pregnancy. I saw it mentioned on another podcast. So it might be related to that. So I think everyone's putting two and two together and making any number that they want it to make at this point. But so he hasn't travelled to Portugal, but he did play at the weekend. So he's been quite professional about it, which for me, if he really wanted out, would he have pushed for it a bit more by now? I don't know. I don't know. It just feels like it's dragging a bit. Maybe I don't know what it's waiting on. I know that he's been offered around to all other clubs, and they've all said no. And
Which is
that's
interesting. Yeah.
well,
Well, he
because they
wants.
all know what the price now is as well,
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
they?
Well, maybe he just. And I keep forgetting this, but we have Champions League football, so it's not really that big of a surprise where players say, "Oh fuck, yeah, I want to come." Like
Yeah.
it's so. No, I hope it gets done. Obviously, I think it'll be a tremendous addition because for me, he's a really, really good player. And then the other one that's been kind of marinating is Palina at Bayern,
Yeah.
and he hasn't gone to Bayern and pulled any trees up, but he was really good at Fulham, really good, and he
Well,
understands
it's
the league. He's
and
experienced.
I have had this discussion with Thomas about 3 times already, and I was like, do you know what? The 25 million, it's not a bad option.
Totally.
And Thomas doesn't rate him at all, at all. He said that his distribution isn't good enough for a Thomas Frank team. He's just a destroyer, which you could probably in a Fulham team when you don't have a lot of the ball, that's a really important role. Right? But we will have. I looked at the stats. They had 47% possession Brentford last season on average, and we had 57%. So we will have more of the ball. So when we've got the ball, you need to be able. We need somebody who's going to be able to distribute the ball well. So he doesn't think that he's the one. He thinks Walton's a much better player, probably a lot more money. I think that it would take 100 million to get him away from Palace. I don't think they need to sell. So I don't think
I
that's an
think
easy piece of business to do.
No, I think Wharton, I think he stays. And I think he should, if I'm honest. Like, I think it'll better his career to stay there another year and be the big fish. I think he'd get more from staying there. Because what's he, 20, 19? He's not that old, is he?
He's not that old, 20, 21, around that
Yeah.
age.
I think, look, I'd love it. I'd love him. Don't get me wrong. But I think him staying there is probably a better move for his development right now.
I would have liked him because he's English.
Yeah.
And that's same with Morgan Gibbs White, another English player. The quotas are important, certainly in European football. So it would be good to get more English players, especially to have more England internationals would also be nice. Might pique my interest back in watching England again. Although the way that Thomas Tuchel's got them playing, I'm not sure it would.
Yeah, don't even get me started on that. That's been, not good. Well, it's going to be an interesting few more days before we leave for the Asia tour because you would hope and expect that we want to get deals done before we leave. So look, there's optics and there's commercial reasons for that too, right? In terms of Gibbs White going out with the team on the tour and all of that good stuff. So be an interesting few days, I expect. We've got Luton and we'll be certainly doing another podcast post Luton and pre-tour. One thing I did want to touch on, which I'm sure you would agree with, but I just wanted to kind of for our listeners and just the football community. Thoughts are with Diego Jota's and Andre Silva's family.
Yes.
Bloody tragic news. Like we haven't.
That was terrible. Really.
Yeah, this has happened. So it just for the football world, like a terrible loss. A young man just got married, kids, like not just awful. Yeah. So
yeah.
So
well said. Well said. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. But I didn't have anything more to add other than excited to be on video for the upcoming season.
So faces for radio, us too.
Yeah, I need to probably bring my A game with what I'm wearing as far as maybe some more Spurs clobber.
I've got the third black away kit coming.
Yes, good man. Which are lovely.
I shall probably try and dig that out. And this is, by the way, this is a gift from my kids for Father's Day.
Bring it closer. It's kind of if you bring it closer to you, go
on air.
Come in. There you go.
For some reason, it's backwards.
On air. Yeah.
It's showing up as backwards. I don't know why that is.
That's funny.
Weird.
Well, I'm still yet to do it, but for our viewers now, I've got this, which I really do want to frame it. So I don't know if I showed you this, but when
excellent, you got the local paper.
Local paper in Melbourne. I mean, that was pretty cool to see as I was walking around the supermarket, and I thought I never buy a paper. Oh, you got program, lovely stuff. Yeah.
So now we're doing merch. Merch is coming out. I got this. I bought this for myself because I'm sad.
Oh, that's great. What is a charge? Really good. How good. Well, and the last thing I'll share is thanks to you, and I've got these on my desk. I've yet to use them, and I don't think I can bring myself to because I don't want to break them. But
I'm the same.
Yeah,
nice.
The
They are the best. So
So good.
if anyone hasn't seen those, I'll put a link in
Yeah.
the description.
So
So you
good.
should
Like when
definitely
I've got
take a
them, I'm
look.
like, I can't bring myself to drink out of them, and they're not going in the dishwasher. So
Yeah, same. Actually, Thomas is coming to see me this weekend, so
yeah, cool.
I may have something for him. And
Good
Josh
stuff.
already, I gave a set to Josh as well, so he quite liked them as well. So very
Yeah,
cool.
great. Yeah, thank you again for sending those. Well, I look forward to seeing you again soon, and our viewers seeing us again soon and hearing us again soon. But I'll let you close us out, Graham.
Thanks to everyone who's listened in. Please like and subscribe to the podcast to tickle the algorithm so we can get in front of more Spurs supporters. And as we usually say, come on, you
Come on,
sirs.
you Spurs.